Hey guys, it is Coach Christina from Team Pro Physique back again with another quick little coaching nugget of a video. So, I wanted to talk today about why I have people track before I give them target macros. So I was actually just talking to a good friend of mine, and her goal is to try and put some weight on through weight training. And so she doesn't want to lose weight, and she had asked, what should my calories be? And I had also just gotten off a phone call with somebody else where they were like, what should my calories be if this is my target? And the hard part is that even though there are all of these different macro calculators out there, there's apps telling you that they know the perfect number based off of a short questionnaire. None of those are actually going to give you the most personalized bit of information that takes into account the amount of exercise that you're doing, what your job requires of you, what your daily life requires of you, what your diet history and your training history looks like. All of these things come into play, specifically that diet history part and how often we've been eating the way that we are currently eating or the way we routinely eat. So I talked to a vast majority of women who have been stuck in this cycle that society has pushed on us that we're supposed to eat 1,200 calories a day. We're supposed to do outrageous amounts of cardio. We're not supposed to lift heavy, things like that. And so that adds up to a diet history where we have taught our body to operate more like a Prius than like a semi-truck. And ideally, we want to be semi-trucks that require a lot of fuel, we burn through it really fast, and we get the work done. We don't want to be a Prius that has to be stopped and recharged, all the time, and that gets these little like nuggets of fuel throughout the day, but it never gets, like the big amount. We want that big amount, right? We don't want to live off of 1,200 calories per day because that's the amount of food that is recommended for a toddler. And we are grown ass women who are trying to get the work done, right? We're trying to improve ourselves. We're trying to enjoy ourselves. And I just don't believe anybody who tells me that they can enjoy themselves on 1,200 calories per day. So the reason that when I talk to somebody about that, the first thing I'll say is, I'm going to send you the macro tracker I use with my clients. Do me a favor, track for 3 to 4 days. A whole week would be ideal. I do like to see a weekend if possible, since usually they're a bit more variable than our day-to-day like workday information. But I like to see what it is that your body is used to getting right now. Extra points if we're currently maintaining our weight, because that means whatever you show me is going to be pretty close to our maintenance spot. Then I ask people, I'll take that information, I'll renegotiate things a little bit. Usually I'm going to bump up your protein intake just a touch. We're going to talk about fiber. We're going to talk about whole food sources, prioritizing those while also having things that help us enjoy our day and stick to it long term. All of that comes together to create numbers that make more sense based off of what your body personally needs. So even though a macro calculator could say, well, for somebody your height and your weight, you should be eating XYZ, maybe you've been routinely under eating and your body has adapted to a lower intake. And this doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that your hormones are screwing you over. It doesn't mean that, your metabolism is ruined or like that there's anything like that. It just means that we need to work on a little bit of adjusting that adaptation. And there's different ways we can go about it. We can go about, slowly increasing your food to get your body more used to running off of more. We can work about talking about things like honoring hunger signals, trying to pay more attention to them, get them to fire a little bit again so that we're paying attention to those and feeding our body when it needs it. We can talk about introducing exercise, which will naturally increase the amount of food that your body needs. And sometimes if we very carefully balance increasing your output, it makes people more comfortable with also increasing their input. And I know that might sound crazy if you're like, hey, I want to lose weight. Why are you increasing my calories? We can only go so low for so long. And so I think a much more long-term solution in those kinds of situations is to find out what is maintenance for your body today. What does that look like in terms of, do we actually have room to diet? Do we need to work on adding more food in? What does your activity look like? What is your long-term vision for your bodies, like aesthetically and performance-wise? And how can we make sure that we marry all of these goals together? Everybody wants to lose fat right away. I'm like 95% of the people that I talk to, their main goal is to lose body fat. A lot of the times we need to talk about how can we make sure that we are decreasing our body fat percentage while probably what we need to do is increase our lean tissue. And so maybe the scale doesn't move, but that doesn't mean that you're not finding progress. So the smartest thing that I think people can do to get started is not to spend their day jumping from one calculator to the next or allowing an app to tell you what is perfect and then getting frustrated when it seems very different from what's usual for you. But instead, take that time to sit down and invest in yourself by logging accurately every little bit of food you put into your face for a solid week or so. Understand what exactly it is that your body is used to getting. You don't have to live forever tied to an app or a food scale, but getting that initial information is going to do us a lot of favors in determining what do we need to do in the immediacy, what do we need to do when we're planning out our long-term goals, and what's going to serve you best in making sure that we're not coming out the gate too hot and causing more adaptations that are going to set us back further from getting to your goal in the long run. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm always happy to chat. My email is Christina@prophysique.com. I'm also going to put a link to the application for coaching with me down in the comments section here. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next time.